Welcome to Biz Coach and Coffee, where our guests are experts, entrepreneurs, coaches, and consultants that share tips, strategies, and tactics to help small business entrepreneurs grow their business for long-term success. Please welcome your host, Biz Coach Steve Feld.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm Biz Coach Steve Feld, and my goal is to stop business owners from suffering entrepreneurial depression and start making running their businesses much easier. Business owners and entrepreneurs hire me to crack multiple six figures and even seven figures without burning themselves out. Today, we have another great guest for you. We have Caleigh Bell. Now, Caleigh, she is the owner of All Things Podcasting. And All Things Podcasting was created so that business owners could have a one-stop shop for all of their podcast needs. So please welcome Caleigh. Glad to have you here.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, the first question is, okay, All Things Podcasting, how did you get into this world?
Yeah, so I started off as a general VA in 2019. And from there, I kind of was doing all kinds of different marketing stuff. I was doing email funnels. I did Facebook and Instagram ads for a while. I did all kinds of different things. And one of my very first clients, I had worked on her podcast. I got kind of burnt out on doing Facebook and Instagram ads after a while. I was making good money and stuff doing it, but just realized it wasn't for me. So I kind of took a step back and looked at all the things I had done in the past. And I was like, well, I really like doing all the podcast stuff. And I've never purchased anything from anyone that I haven't binged their podcast first. So obviously there's something to be said about that. And, it's kind of everybody needs one because it just builds that know, like, and trust. So I kind of just dove headfirst into it, completely flipped my business, hired my best friend to work with me to do the editing because that was the part I didn't love. And so now we just kind of roll with it and work with our one-on-one clients and have all kinds of programs and everything.
Yeah, the editing's not the fun stuff. You can get out of that. That's the key.
Right.
There's always someone who loves doing that other stuff anyways.
Yeah. My best friend Shannon's all into it. She's obsesses over making everything just right. And I'm like, I just cannot listen to somebody talk for that long. 4 hours is too much. Right.
Yeah, we're all so critical of ourselves. Well, who are your kind of clientele? Who really are you talking to? And what do they really need? They're thinking, hey, I want a podcast.
Yeah, so we work with predominantly online business owners. We work with a woman who does SEO, and she has some coaches and coursing around SEO and also has one-on-one clients. We have a client who does marketing strategy. We have a client that they do short-term rentals. So they have a bunch of short-term rentals. They're local to us. And they also are working on a program to teach other people how to do that as well. So we kind of work with a little bit of everybody. Our newest client it's something different than what we've done before. And he is interviewing people. He works in PR, but he's interviewing people that he knows through his 9-to-5 job doing PR and talking to them about their journeys and how they became successful and kind of the struggle along the way and how they have taken adversity and turned it, into success. So we've worked with all kinds of different people. Our target audience is female online business owners, but it's kind of spread out from there. So
nice. All right, so I'm not in your demographic. But what do you think is one of the big things when someone comes to you and says, hey, I want to start a podcast? Do you get into the why do they need a podcast for their business?
Yeah, so we get into the why, but predominantly the first thing that I want to make sure is are we monetizing this? If so, how? And what is your goal for it? And I guess that ties into the why. Why are you doing it? Do you want to make money? Do you want to drive people to an offer? Do you want to drive them to services? Do you want to drive them to a blog? Do you want to do this as a passion project, as a hobby? Because all of those things shift how we launch and how we promote things as well. So it's kind of like a why and are we monetizing and how are we doing that? And that kind of guides the rest of the conversations.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you got talked about monetizing your podcast, because I think a lot of people, when they start a podcast, they're thinking, hey, I'm going to do it because I want to talk to people or educate my audience, but they never think about the money side of it, because there's definitely money going out when you have a podcast. So do you have a process that you work with your clients through step by step? How does that work if someone comes to you and says, hey, let's do this?
Yeah, so we have, of course, we have like a whole launch process, but on our like first initial kickoff call, I'm going through with them, what do you have? Like, what do you have that we could sell? What have you seen has gotten the most results? Or do we want to try to like drive to a freebie first and then like people are really converting really well on your email list? Or do we want to drive directly to an offer? So we kind of play with those things as we're doing someone's podcast with our one-on-one clients, because they haven't really done anything like this before. They're used to posting on social media, sending out emails. And so you kind of have to figure out what works for their audience through podcasting. So we'll try sending them to an email list usually first. And then as they're launching a big program, then we'll send them, into that bigger program, and we'll see what the conversion rates are looking like. We make individualized links for all of those things so that we are able to track if it's coming from the podcast or coming from somewhere else.
Well, that's another good point. The tracking side of things. And I know I've talked to many podcast guests and hosts, and they're like, half of them track and half of them are like, well, of course. Now, when you're coming up with like, what do they have already? Do you find like the ultimate thing that's really would be beneficial on the podcast with them?
Yeah, so we like to do like a big call to action. So that's the thing, like we ask them, what do you really want to sell? What do you want to move? Whether it's a course, one-on-one services, like what can you give to the masses like that you really want to sell? And then we have individualized call to actions for each episode. So say they're doing an episode about marketing on Instagram and they have a freebie, 30 Instagram prompts. We're going to plug that freebie at the end of that episode as a call to action. But in the middle of the episode, we're going to have a mid-roll ad that's advertising their larger program. So we're pulling from different audiences, if they're ready to go forward with a freebie and they just need that one piece of information, or they're ready to invest in the program. So you're kind of meeting your whole audience wherever they are and giving them multiple options for that call to action.
Oh, excellent. Great segue into this, because we're going to take a quick break from our sponsor and we'll be right back with Caleigh Bell.
This episode is sponsored by Spotlight Books. Get your expert book completed in 30 days. If you don't have an expert lead magnet book about you and how you serve your market, then visit www.spotlight-books.com. Link is also in the show notes. Put a spotlight on your expertise.
And we're back. Great. We were just talking about how to monetize it and put those items in. Now, does someone need to know how to edit and structure their podcast? Do you help them with all that?
Yeah, so for our one-on-one clients, it's literally they drop it into a Google Drive and we take it over from there. It's seamless. But for our people who are in our programs, we give them our exact workflow. So like the mastermind that we're launching right now, it's literally going to take you A to Z how to launch your podcast, and we're showing them how to edit easily. It's not going to be like the in-depth edit that we do with our one-on-one clients, but it's going to be far above what you're probably going to be able to figure out via YouTube. And we teach them to use a program called Descript, which allows you to edit the video, the audio, and the transcript all in one go. So you're not having to kind of hop back and forth between things. So it makes it super easy for the business owners to go in, do some quick, those long pauses, awkward things in the middle, word fumbles, all that good stuff, edit it out real quick, and then get it up there. And Descript also has the capability to optimize the sound. It's called Studio Sound, and it basically just tunes things up, makes things sound a little bit better.
Nice. So that makes it real great. So if you're listening, thinking about starting a podcast, I think we found the right person you want to talk to about all that. Because it sounds like you got everything from A to Z on it to really help them go from, I don't know, Jack, to I got this and I'm the master of it. What do you think is one of the biggest things that you see with your clients when they start a podcast, where they're fumbling and stumbling blocks?
Biggest thing I see people get hung up on is like just obsessing over the minor details and like not wanting to record because they're scared about what to say and not wanting, like, a lot of our clients have had their podcast mic sitting in a closet for 2 years and haven't ever launched it because they're just hitting a mental roadblock. So we like send them weekly emails. Here's everything I need from you. I promise we will not let you sound dumb. Send it to us. We will make it sound great. If it's terrible and we can't clean it up, I will let you know and tell you what we need to do. But we also give them scripts. So like we're giving you scripts for intro, outro, trailer, so that it's really simple, like for you to, and we have them record the intro like 3 or 4 different times so that it's warming up their voice and adding some inflection and they're getting more comfortable. So I think the biggest like roadblock people hit is just getting comfortable with recording if that's something that they've never done before.
Yeah, just turn on your Zoom and go. Folks, I'm telling you, it is not as bad. Caleigh's making it sound so easy, and it actually, well, is. Just got to get over that fear. Now, what kind of results do you see with businesses that, reach out to you, they start the podcast up? How is that impacting their businesses?
Yeah, so like one of our clients, we do repurposing for our clients as well. And like we started repurposing her podcast, and that's when we saw the huge growth. She's doubled her listenership every month, like month over month for almost 6 months now. It's crazy the amount of growth that we've seen. But like when we talk to our clients, we hear the biggest thing they say is the connections that they've made. I've been able to connect with, this person that I never would have spoken to before. And it led me, they referred 3 new clients to me. So it's just that network of connections. And, whether it's somebody coming on as a guest or somebody who is listening to the podcast and connecting people with you, it's just that building that network of people who are kind of in your corner is the biggest thing that people will say, like beyond the monetary, benefits. That's the thing that they weren't expecting that they got out of it.
Great. And you also mentioned repurposing, which I'm a big fan of. So go ahead and tell our listeners, like, how do you define repurposing? Because maybe some people are like, so wait, you do the podcast and you're done. So why would you repurpose?
The podcast and you're done. This is like the best thing. And like, I almost cry when I see people not repurposing their podcast. So once you have that podcast episode, if you're able to record video with it, if that's in your comfort zone, put that thing up on YouTube. If you aren't comfortable doing video or your guests aren't comfortable doing video, that's totally fine too. You can put a graphic up and put the audio from the podcast in on YouTube. And YouTube is actually the #1 place now where people are listening to podcasts. It's overtaken Apple and Spotify. So that's a huge opportunity there. Once you have the video up and the podcast up, we consider those like the 2 macro pieces of content. Then we start breaking things down into micro categories. So we're going to do a blog, we're going to do an email. And from that blog and email, you're able to pull captions for social posts. So then we're going to do things like audiograms and static graphics and new episode graphics and check out our guest graphics, all of the things so that you're able to post those things on social media, feed, and story size. If you're recording video, that's where the real magic happens because you can pull Reels and TikToks, YouTube Shorts, all use the same clips, just pull it directly from your video recording, clip it, and send it out into the world. And then that's really building your audience. Similar to how blogging was 5 to 10 years ago, that's TikTok and Reels right now. That's where people are going and searching and finding new things. It's the algorithm shows them things that they're going to be interested in. It's going to be showing it directly to your people. So that's a huge opportunity right now. That's what all of the algorithms are encouraging, are these short form videos. So it's a great way to kind of take advantage of that.
Absolutely. That micro content is so valuable nowadays because you already built the content. Now it's just taking a little sliver out of each one of it, which I love. So I do know one podcast host, they have someone who can take a 30-minute podcast episode and they have enough content for 2-3 months because they make graphics from the statements. They're also doing snippets and they live and die on TikTok. So there you go. So always have a team, folks. Always have a team. Great. Well, we're a giver on these shows. We like to help our listeners grow and build their businesses. Is there something that you can help them with, a giveaway or something?
Yeah, so we have a training. It's called the Profitable Podcast Process, and it's a live training that I did. So this is kind of the recording from that, and it's all about how we do this with our one-on-one clients and kind of gives you an inside look at how you can do it for yourself. So it kind of takes you through, like I just talk you through our A to Z process of from conceptualizing the podcast all the way through like how we edit everything and how we repurpose all the way through all the things so that you can kind of see what that looks like and see what pieces you may or may not want to use, and you get all of some like juicy tips and tricks along the way.
Great. Well, we're going to grab that link and it'll be in the show notes. So take advantage of Caleigh's offer. Any parting words you have for us?
If you've been thinking about launching a podcast and have any fear or blocks around it, just do it. Go and record a couple episodes or go be a guest on other podcasts to get some of those nerves out. Figure out what people want you to talk about, what people are interested in, and just kind of work it out that way. I have a lot of people I've suggested that to, and then they'll come back and be like, okay, I'm ready now. They just need to like work out those talking kinks. So if you're thinking about launching a podcast, either dive in and do it or be a guest to work out those nerves.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I've thought, well, I'm never going to launch my own, but I'll be a guest. And as I was a guest, I was always asking the host questions. How do you upload? You know, what's involved? Getting to the nitty gritty behind the scenes kind of thing. And then it was like, okay, now I'm ready. And then it was a quick launch because I had everything in place or knew what I wanted. But knowing your why you want to launch a podcast, I think that's the key. I just want to say thank you so much for coming on our podcast and sharing your knowledge.
Yeah, of course. No problem. It was great.
Great. Everyone, don't forget to take advantage of Caleigh's offer. And this is Biz Coach Steve Feld wishing you and your business much success.
We hope you enjoyed today's topic. If you'd like to discuss how you can apply these strategies in your business, let us know. This episode is sponsored by Spotlight Books. Get your own expert book written about you in 30 days. Set yourself apart from the competition. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. Also, feel free to give us your comments. We look forward to hearing from you on Biz Coach and Coffee.